Hey guys, it's Paul, combat veteran, MMA fighter, YouTuber, and today we are checking out the gameplay release trailer for The Day Before. The Day Before is an open world zombie survival horror MMO, and I'm excited. And of course, before we get started, if you too have thought about how much harder it would be to survive if the zombies could actually move fast, hit that subscribe button. And of course, hit like on the video so that the powers that be know that this is a legitimate channel, that I'm putting out good content. Also, if you're into outdoors, survival, military surplus, right, very similar thematically to this video, check out my second channel, Military History Gear Review, and be sure to follow me on Instagram. Okay, having done all that, let's get into this trailer.
I'm Oliver Frost, and this is probably my last radio broadcast. So the thing I would say is there was too much noise in the world. Before, it seemed like we were just sleeping in a continuous stream of information and news, buying junk that we didn't even need. In the old world, I always dreamed of becoming a radio host. But I didn't have the courage to stay true to myself and not live the way others expected.
Okay, I'm just going to point out some of the awesomeness of this animation. Now, obviously, this isn't gameplay footage, but you can see that they've got the not just the very realistic sound and appearance of a rainstorm outside, but that the light refracting through the windows is actually reflecting off the sort of sheen surface of the radio. It looks like maybe it's a very old school radio. It's probably Bakelite, a pretty common like plastic type material from the 50s. And yeah, that looks like a radio from maybe the 50s or 60s, right? Analog, no power, pretty interesting. Also, even stuff like the effect of the steam rising off the coffee, the way the coffee ceramic of the mug clearly has a glaze and is reflected, right? It all just gives it this very rich, authentic feel. But again, this is a clip. I don't think it's actual gameplay.
Did me too. We could create better versions of ourselves, make breakthroughs, and change the world. If we had realized it then, we could have changed many things for the better. And this goddamn Azure initiatives wouldn't have existed. Oh, it would have been nice to come back, change everything. I have something for you. Take me back to the time that is over. Take me back to my happy place. To the day before the world ends. To the day before the world ends.
All right, that's just spooky. That's just spooky. But if their goal is to set some ambiance, man, that's successful. Yeah, I'm creeped out for sure. For sure. Okay, so when I think of that, I think of the American West, the sort of pine forest and the large hills. That's something that I think of as being pretty classic of Idaho, the Yellowstone area, Wyoming. My wife and I were out there last summer doing a lot of camping and backpacking, and we were actually living out of our car, and actually drove a number of roads like this. The one I'm thinking of was in what's called Cloud Peak Wilderness, and it is about a 25-mile drive up to into the Bighorn National Forest, and you travel on roads that look sort of like this, very unimproved in some cases, and it's 25 miles, and it takes you about 2 hours to drive it because you have to just crawl carefully over these rocks. Oh my god, that vehicle should be getting stuck right there. So, okay. Yeah, there is absolutely no way even a four-wheel drive vehicle is getting out of there with that level of mud and that level of water. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. I mean, again, when I was deployed, we had the vehicles we used were primarily what are called MATVs, which are mine-resistant MRAP all-terrain vehicles. So they took the MRAP chassis and basically turned it into a rock crawler, right? These are specialty vehicles that have an extremely high strength to power or strength to weight ratio or horsepower to weight ratio, and they're meant to climb rocks and navigate very, very difficult terrain. And they still got stuck all the time on Afghanistan's crude roads, right? It didn't take much mud to get these vehicles stuck. So the idea that your Range Rover is going to navigate a mud field like this, yeah, unlikely. Now, again, what you would probably want to have that I think of is you're going to want to have in your vehicle a recovery device. Where I'm thinking like tow chains, a winch, something that's going to help you either recover the vehicle, self-recover, or in the case of his buddy, right, use that other pickup truck to recover that vehicle or get it unstuck. Okay, but one call that I really like is you see they have 2 5-gallon jerry cans of fuel strapped to the outside of their vehicle. That's, again, something we classically did on our vehicles when I was deployed, and is actually something we did when we were also out west. We would have it was just like a 1-gallon container of gasoline we would keep in the back next to a sealed gallon or 2 gallons of water, and in our car that would buy us about 40 extra miles, which was usually enough to get to a town from wherever you were. And the ability to do that not only for yourself, right, but maybe for a stranded motorist or someone else that needs fuel, the importance of that can't be overstated. The ability to just squeeze a little bit of extra range out of your vehicle. Okay, there's got to be a vehicle getting stuck mechanic, because in the real world, the vehicle getting stuck mechanic is so prominent, right? Here in real life, they have to nerf how stuck your cars always seem to get. And especially something like a Range Rover, dude, it's so easy. I mean, I got stuck in a parking lot this winter because an ice storm had rolled in and froze the whole thing, and there was like a slight incline over the span of like 20 feet, and I still had to like cut and weave, and again, I'm in an SUV with 4-wheel drive, but Mother Nature is just dwarfs our ability to engineer vehicles. But man, I love how you can hear the shocks as the vehicle goes over the rocky terrain. And it's nice that it does have to slow down, right? You can't GTA your way through these sort of environments. And I think that's important in an open world game. Okay, interesting. So he's coming upon, it looks like a small gas station. Again, this looks a lot like the kind of Idaho, Wyoming, American West type setups that we drove through this past year. And yeah, what's interesting to me is that it's a zombie apocalypse game, but the street lights are on. So I'm wondering if there is an external generator, and if so, who is fueling that generator, if there's someone inside this gas station. Oh, his tire got popped. Okay, I guess that was like the popping noises I sort of heard. I wonder if that's just a random mechanic, or if the owner of the gas station has placed out like spikes or nails in order to sort of stop traffic from coming through. Okay, so someone else has recently stopped here, right? That vehicle is still smoking, so there's someone very nearby in the area. And again, the fact that on the other side of the approach, there's another stranded or damaged vehicle makes me say that there may be someone who is sort of put up obstacles on either side of this gas station in order to stop people from arriving at it. Which would make sense if you have the only power generator in the area. Holy shit, dude. Okay, that was stupid. Why would you shoot 50 round? One, why would you open a door and not check it? Two, that's a lot of rounds on fully automatic that you just wasted. I mean, I thought this was a zombie survival horror game. Like, how many rounds are you really carrying that you can shoot anything on fully automatic? And his buddy's doing the same thing, and now he's alerted all the zombies. Right, it seems like it requires one pistol shot. Okay, so this is the classic. This seems like a medium speed zombie threat. Shoot him once in the head seems to do it. So again, raises the question of why shoot anything on fully automatic. Okay, while I really hate this this guy's play style, it is smart, right? You want to sweep around the gas station before you try to clear the inside. If you only have two people, and again, there's a lot of signs that there is a human being here and a person who doesn't want you around, clearing the exterior and then clearing the interior is probably going to be your best bet. Again, if you only have two people, ideally, like we talk about in the military, when we want to search a building, we establish a cordon, right? So you're talking about a minimum of probably 8 people, and they're keeping both other folks from entering and anyone inside the building from fleeing. And then once you've got your cordon set, then your team, your search team or your breach team enters the building and actually clears it. Of course, with 2 people, way different set of circumstances, you just can't. So something like this is probably your best bet, but it's a huge compromise to search the perimeter and then enter. Oh, okay, I see a round count. He's got 54 rounds left, and he's got 10 rounds in his mag. Yeah, at the rate this dude's burning ammo, he's not gonna be able to make it into the building before he goes black. Black on ammo is black on ammo is a military expression. Green means you're fully stocked up. Amber means you're at like 60 to 60%. Red means you are almost out of ammo, and black means you have no ammo left. And that applies to fuel. You can be black on fuel. You can be black on water. Anything. Okay, a flashlight, absolutely essential when you're doing any kind of outdoor anything. It's just absolutely non-negotiable. And the nice thing is, nowadays, you can actually buy a small solar panel that provides USB charging. So if you have a flashlight, you deploy your solar panel during the day and plug the flashlight, or I use a headlamp, plug the headlamp into it, let it charge up throughout the day, and then at night you have a charged up, ready to go headlamp. Right? And so if you don't have access to power, you can still, and you don't have a power bank, you can still keep your headlamp good to go. Okay, wait. Let's roast this dude's gear setup. Okay, so what's he got in his inventory? He has a bottle of water. He has, looks like his ammo, 2 kinds of ammo, primary, secondary. He has 3. I'm going to say that looks like maybe pieces of paper, or it's bandages. It's probably bandages. And now he has a can of Coke. He's got a Glock 19, an AK-47, a hat, a cap, looks like a standard generic tactical backpack, and tactical pants, and a pullover. Okay, let's kit bash him a little bit. What do you always want to have if you were in that situation, right? You're in a car, you're riding around. You know what? I'll give him a pass and say that most of his stuff is probably in the car. That said, you know there's other people around. You know your car is just parked on the side of the road. So to me, leaving all your stuff in the car unguarded is probably a risk. Once again, 2 people don't have a ton of options. But what you always want to have, right, anytime you're going almost anywhere, you want to have some water. Right, because it can be easy. You know, as a human being doing hard work, you run out of water pretty easily. You always want to have some sort of rain gear. Is the other thing, right? Even if you're away from your vehicle, you want to be able to stay dry, because getting wet and staying wet can make your body work so tremendously hard to maintain homeostasis, especially if it's something like this, where you're at a high elevation where the temperatures never really get that hot. Getting soaked can really bring on hypothermia very quickly. So I am a big fan. I would carry a poncho, a big waterproof, basically tarp that you can drape over yourself, cinch down into a hood, and you and all your stuff can stay dry. So that's something you always have on you. I've even seen in the military, there was a time years ago where even around garrison, you would wear a big belt and you would have a poncho rolled up tight and bungee corded to the back of the belt, so you could just throw it on when you were out in a training area. What else would I keep in a backpack? I would have more than a bottle of water. Though I guess if I was patrolling, I've done less than that. Yeah, and I guess he has his flashlight, which is important. The ability to see at night, you always want to have that. Again, you don't want to get cut off from your vehicle. I would always have a knife and a pair of gloves. That's the other thing that I always try to have is gloves, right? Especially if you're searching through stuff. It's a really dumb reason to get very, very sick is to cut your hand. And that's easy to do. It's super easy to do when you're out in nature, when you're out here, it's so easy to cut your hands, and being able to keep your hands and self clean is so, so important. So hand sanitizer is another thing. In the military, we always carried it around, garrison and deployed, kept it right here, and it just meant that whenever you're going to eat something, whenever you were going to touch something, you had the ability to at least remove some of the germs from your hands to prevent you from getting sick. And again, it's important to think in these survival horror games, we think about guns as being like the first thing you need, but in reality, the first thing you need is to be able to keep yourself clean, right? The ability to prevent germs and bacteria from getting inside your body, because without medical care, even routine sort of infections can become deadly. Okay, so weird, the power is on outside but not inside. Oh, there he goes. Okay. Okay. That's super strange that they would have the power on outside, but they would shut it off via the breaker box on the inside, and I don't hear a generator. Generators are usually pretty loud. I guess in theory they could have solar panels and a battery, but again, keeping your lights running, I don't know, it's tough to say. Alright, so here's what I will say. This person is looting around, and again, it looks like things have been totally trashed. I would absolutely be wearing gloves. And I can't really see if his character is or not, but it's a really good idea. You know, also as I look at his coat, it may actually be waterproof, right? That very thick collar, there are some jackets, like the Army's Gore-Tex jacket, where you actually have a hood, but you roll it up and tuck it into the collar. It's pretty nifty, and it lets you turn it from just a regular warming jacket to a rain jacket right away. Alright, we're running a little short on time. Let's skip ahead. Alright, he's looting. Okay, let's see. Okay, alright, he's fixing his vehicle. Oh, that's a status of the tires, I think. Okay, so here's something else that I keep in my vehicle all the time when I'm rolling around is Fix-A-Flat. Fix-A-Flat is a sort of unique spray that you actually hook up to the tire, squeeze it, and it finds where the air is being pushed out and plugs it up. And then actually gives you another like 20 psi on your tire. So it can take a blown out tire and put it back in operation pretty easily. And that is a hugely important thing to have, even if you have a spare tire, to be honest, because again, when you're way out there in the middle of nowhere, it's not inconceivable that you have to throw on your spare and then drive, again, another 25 miles, potentially damaging, 25, 50, 100 miles, potentially further damaging your spare or having another flat occur. And Fix-A-Flat is like $25 at Walmart, like it's nothing. And maybe the mechanic just kind of hand waved this away by saying, oh, you find a toolkit, you can fix it. In reality, maybe they dug around in this little truck stop, found some Fix-A-Flat, and pumped it into their tire. Okay, so again, I wonder if, in the game, they're probably on Discord. In real life, you'd want to have some radio comms with your other trucks. Usually you can buy cheap, just like ICOM radios. Super useful for this sort of thing. Super reliable. You could also run a CB radio. That's another pretty informal but effective and widely used communications network. Ham radios are another one. Yeah, if I saw that, I would say, hell no. I am not taking any vehicle over that. You know, at best, if I absolutely had to, I would probably, I'd get out and check the bridge first, top to bottom. Maybe I'd try to unload my vehicle as much as I possibly could. Maybe I'd even hook up a tow line between the car and the van, so that you kind of, it's the same reason climbers do it, right? To kind of give them that little extra stability. But damn, I would be fucking terrified. Again, I'm so curious about why the streetlights are functioning here. Okay, leaving your vehicle running is bonkers, right? Apocalypse scenario. Fuel is hard to get. Don't leave your vehicle running. Lock it when you leave it. And honestly, if it was me, I would park my vehicle somewhere where it's not that easy to see, right? Where someone else driving down that road isn't going to see your abandoned vehicle right there. Or they'll probably be able to tell that it's not an abandoned vehicle. They'll see jerry cans of fuel, right? They'll stop and steal your jerry cans. They'll stop and break your windows and loot your stuff, right? And they probably, it may not even be like a bad person. It may just be someone who's like, hey, free stuff, you know? So, yeah, you want to get it off to the side of the road. Maybe even have like a camo tarp or something to cover it so that it's less visible to other people driving up and down that road. All right, smart. You want to try to recon an area before you go visit it, right? Watch it from a distance. Might even want to do it longer than they're doing it. Do an hour plus to really see if anybody's out there. But they may be trying to get some shelter before dark, before it gets really cold. But again, if it was me, your car is shelter. Right? And that way you sleep in the car, you both protect all your stuff, which is in your car, and you still have shelter from almost anything, right? Storms, the cold, right? A truck is not super insulated. It's not a house, but it's pretty good. And if you combine that with a really high-end sleeping bag, you can actually probably stay in a car through some pretty cold conditions. Wow, you just destroyed that dude's fence. Kind of a jerk move. Okay, also you can see someone's living at the farm because there's a light on. Alright, we're getting a little short on time, so let's see if something interesting's happening. Okay, let's take it... Alright, looks like they enter the house. Let's do it right here. They've entered the house, and they've searched around. Okay, interesting. So it looks like the owner has left the house but intends to return because they've put up these mannequins to make it look like someone is inside. That's pretty smart. But what isn't smart is that they kept the windows open, so in daylight hours you can clearly see their mannequins, and if they've put up mannequins, you know that the owner won't return anytime soon. Alright, that picture of Grandma, super creepy. Okay, seriously, they have the cops here? Okay, so maybe in this scenario, civilization is, like, actually doing okay. Maybe there's still power because there's still a power plant running. Yeah, sort of puzzling that they still have the cops. Or maybe it's just a player in a cop vehicle. Okay, you know what? I was complaining about the lack of rain gear, and you can see on the guy's backpack, he's got what looks like a raincoat wrapped up and strapped onto the bottom. Okay, weird. You hacked your way into the guy's bunker. Like, damn, dude, go back to your car. All your stuff is in the car. Or maybe it's not. Maybe this is just some rando car you stole and all your stuff's in your backpack, in which case you're in a lot of trouble. Oh, spooky. Somebody's down there. Pretty eerie. Oof. All right, wow, that was pretty interesting. Here's what I will say. Like, if he doesn't have that car loaded with survival stuff, one, pretty dumb. But two, then that player is really short-handed. You would want stuff just like a water filter, the ability to store more than just a bottle of water at a time, right? Because if you come to a water source and you can filter it and it's potable, then you want to fill up a gallon, 2 gallons per person, especially if you're traveling on foot. When we were in Bryce Canyon, we were told, hey, 1 gallon per person per day if you're traveling on foot. And honestly, that was spot on for us, and we're pretty young and in shape. So yeah, the idea that you're going to just rock out and find water as you go is a pretty bad one. Yeah, you'd want to have a filter, you'd want to have a sleeping bag or some very insulated jacket. It just, yeah, if your stuff isn't loaded into that vehicle, you'd be in a problem. That said, it's a survival horror game. It seems like a lot of fun. Who doesn't love zombies? And, of course, it doesn't have to be ultra realistic, right? Because, spending 25 minutes cleaning your sleeping bag is kind of a waste. Alright, guys, that is all I had for you for today. If you enjoyed my commentary on this, what looks like a pretty sick game, even though I spent the whole time complaining about how much boring stuff you have to do to survive instead of how few zombies you have to shoot, hit that like button, and of course subscribe for more content, and until next time, I will see you guys later.